just wanted to say sort of sorry for how long this is gonna be, because I already can feel how long this is gonna be for the amount that I filmed. And for most and foremost, I just want to encourage everyone to comment all of the thoughts that they have. Spoilery thoughts, non-spoilery thoughts, everything goes, because I don't expect anyone to watch this if they haven't read the book. This is your warning. If you haven't read the book, do not watch this, because it's just gonna be spoilers. I'm really looking forward to reading all of your comments, and without further ado, let's go into the vlog. Hello! It is the 2nd of November. I'm about to turn my lights on because I'm tired. That's not why. Ta-da! Really like this. Anyway, it's the 2nd of November. Oh, bloody hell, I didn't set up the Goodreads thing yet. And I am about to start... Is this autofocusing? What is happening? 6 of Crows. I'm really tired today, and you know, it's after work and everything, but I'm adamant to actually start it. Let me pick a bookmark for it. Okay, let's grab it. Oh no. Okay, let's grab a bunch and sit and think. I know this is not very interesting for people. Oh, I actually have one that's supposed to be 6 of Crows, isn't it? I think it's supposed to be. Better terrible truth than kind lie, 6 of Crows. So, you know, sort of has been chosen for me. I think my camera is focusing on that face because it's a face. I had to very quickly make my bed because I feel like if you're reading on your bed, I know it's evening and I'm soon to go to bed either way, but I feel like if you're reading on your bed, if you have your bed made, then it's that much better. Sorry. Logan actually brought back some ice cream, so I have that to look forward to. And as always, I'm gonna start by reading the first sentence of this, and we're gonna start our journey and taking the jacket off as well. Oh, it's pretty. Wait, look. Can you see? So it has the maps. Oh, I really like the maps. That's pretty cool. Paper's very thin. I have to say that her books are really beautiful. Shadow business. Very good. Alright, so our first sentence is... Juiced? Is that juiced? Juice had 2 problems, the moon and his mustache. I mean, everyone can relate to that. So, alright, I'm gonna try and read a little bit. Oh no, I forgot my tabs. We'll just have to do it, because I'm not standing up again. I'm in one of those mazes, I'm just like, lay low. Anyway, say you soon. Well, for you it's just now, but whatever, you know what I mean. Did you guys lie to me? Because I don't understand anything they're saying. Been really struggling this evening. This is like, I kept getting distracted. I kept like daydreaming, and I'm on page 18. I read like barely anything, and mind you, this is like hours later, and they keep throwing names and terms in there without any explanation whatsoever, and I'm a bit overwhelmed, and that's why I keep losing focus, because I just don't get it. I don't understand what they're talking about. Like Kurj Zemeni, Kurj Merchant Council, other Zemenis, the Grisha, it's just such a like name dump. And you guys said that I didn't need to read the other books for me to understand this. I know I only just started, but I'm just like, it's not making it easy. I did enjoy the first chapter, the juiced one, where the girl sort of flips their plan over to them, and she's basically gonna cut their own thumb with like controlling their minds and stuff. That was cool. Hello! So I didn't really vlog anything today because I've been spending the whole day vlogging on Instagram, so I didn't think myself vlogging would be that interesting. But I basically just spent the whole day cleaning and doing some computer work, and I'm cooking banana bread at the moment, baking banana bread, and making myself some lazy pasta because apparently banana bread took everything out of me. I'm gonna sit now and set up the Goodreads page for 6 of Crows. I haven't read any yet. Still. Whoops. Hello! It's 10 o'clock. It's Sunday 6th? Monday. It's Monday the 6th. And yeah, I'm gonna try and read for an hour with like minimum interruptions. Don't know, because I remember my battery died, so I don't remember how much I said to you, but the very second chapter is when we meet Inej and Kaz, and unfortunately through the booktube community and the Bookstagram community I already got sort of spoiled that they're gonna be together, or they're gonna be an item, because there's like they are the ship that everyone ships, so you know it's not gonna be surprising. But they're meeting this other gang in a place of town that's supposed to be like neutral, and I think this is gonna be mostly about gang wars, and we see the dynamic of theirs, which is like what's called drag. So I'm gonna go into the chapter 3, which is just Kaz, and yeah, I'll speak to you after that. Sorry, I just got back from work. I remember actually liking what I was reading, but I fell asleep after 30 minutes because I was clearly just so tired. So this is the part where he gets sort of kidnapped to speak about the heist that I assume is gonna be the whole book about. So they're gonna have to break into a prison, heart of stone, ice, something like that, and they're gonna get paid like a lot to do that. So I believe that's gonna be the whole point of the novel, and I'm actually getting into it. I quite like that scene, and I didn't actually even finish. As I said, I just fell asleep. Felt so bad because I really wanted to keep reading, but at the same time I was like, sleep though. And gonna do some other stuff just now, but I thought I'll pop in and tell you what's up and that I shamefully fell asleep. And it wasn't even that late, it was like 10:30 or something, 10:40 maybe. I was enjoying the dialogue, and I enjoyed the whole scene of him thinking that it's a ghost, but it's actually because of that material, well, the chemical that they injected people with. And I think we're just about to go and see what happened to the healer girl that we saw in the first chapter. Yeah, that's where I am at the moment. I will tell you what I marked. If I marked something, to be honest, I can't remember. I was very sleepy, as you probably gathered. Hello! For the last couple of months I've been having a lot of stomach issues, and there's something going on with me. Not really sure what it is. Also something with my leg, but we did an x-ray, nothing. Anyway, some health issues. So I didn't end up really sleeping much tonight, and then Momo wasn't helping because he was like randomly shouting, and I thought it was something weird and wrong. So I woke up and I went to check places, and I was too sick to fall asleep, and then it was just not good. Fortunately, I have quite an understanding boss, so she allowed me to work from home today, which is what I'm gonna do. But I thought I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna make some tea just now. I'm cuddled into my like sweater. Could I maybe work? Can I please get some work done, buddy? You happy there? Is that enjoyable? Yeah. Oh, careful. Buddy, you alright? You alright, mate? Momo, stop being so cute and inconvenient. Why are you such a cat? Okay, okay, hey, let go. Let go. Let go of me. Buddy, oh, hey, don't, I like this sweater. Hi. So I don't know what is happening with this. I finished my work hours, and then I was like, I'm gonna read for a little bit. 40 minutes again, or something like that. But like struggling for most of it, and fell asleep. I only slept for like 15 minutes, so it was like a quick nap. But still, that's so annoying. Like, why does this book put me to sleep? And it's not like I'm not enjoying it, I actually am. I know it's supposed to be like a Russian vibe, but it really gives me more of a German thing than anything. Yeah, they finalized that deal with them, and he's going back talking with the Haskell guy. Van Haskell is promising him 20%, sort of like kind of annoys me, because that dude just sits there, gets grumpy and does nothing. I understand that it's probably him who like took him in, but I don't know, but that's how gangs work, isn't it? One thing that I marked is, you know, when Inej finds him afterwards, and because she just feels him, she's like a puppy. Like seriously, she follows him like a puppy. But I do really like their dynamic between each other, because they tease each other, they both respect each other, and from Kaz's perspective, we haven't really seen anything hinting towards that he has feelings for her. Inej clearly gets a bit like flustered around him when she said like, how would he like if I would start just like undressing myself and stuff, but then she said like, he'd probably tell me not to drip on the desk. So I actually really do kind of like Kaz. He's sort of like to the point, you really don't mess with him, and I forget, I don't know, in my mind I just try to ignore that they're 16, 17. I try to imagine them like my age, which is 25. Some would say that that's not a big difference, but I believe there is. So I feel like personally at the moment I just sort of want to imagine them older, but I don't feel like the age suits their characters, you know what I mean? I feel like they are, especially Kaz, maybe Inej not so much so just yet, but especially Kaz, I feel like he has older person's character, and I feel like it's bumped down for the readers and for the publicity, and I'm not feeling it. So I just decided, I made a conscious decision in my mind that Kaz is gonna be like 25 and then just like deal with it, Verdugo. I really, as I said, I really like their dynamic, and when they're like going downstairs, he's asking her to order him another hat, and she's saying please, as in like say please, and then he says, please my darling Inej, treasure of my heart, would you do me the honor of acquiring me a new hat? Inej has a meaningful glance at his cane. Have a long trip down, and then she like leaps and like shows off how quickly she can go downstairs, because obviously, so they're like teasing each other, so I quite like that. We learned that the symbol of their drag thing is a bird and a cup. I feel like that's like a tarot card, isn't it? Like something like that. Maybe it's just my Raven voice seeking through. I like how Inej is also sort of introduced to us as in a way that she's very light on her feet, in the sense that she doesn't even bring a presence with her. I don't know what that says about Inej and her character, what her backstory is. I got a feeling that she's actually quite religious, or that I don't remember if it was, no, it was another book, because I'm listening to Stalking Jack the Ripper as well, and I got confused that she stopped believing in God, but that's another book. In here we get the glimpse when Kaz is remembering how found her at the brothel, that she still believes in, like, you know, the upper power or whatnot. And that's an interesting point to add. I am not gonna lie, I am more interested in Kaz's character, because even though it is stereotypical, I feel like it's less so. Maybe it has to do with the fact that I've just been having so many of this female character trope recently, you know, with the assassin thing. I don't know what it says about our community that the new thing in YA is assassins, because most of the time, not only do they kill, I think it's just also me being influenced by Avatar, because Avatar the Last Airbender, and from there does everything in his power not to kill anything, and I felt like that was such a good message of respect the life that was, you know, representing in that show. And whereas nowadays it's all like assassins, and don't get me wrong, I am all for blood and gore, and I am all for deaths in books, because I feel like, I don't know, it's an outlet for your inner violence that then you just don't have to like show anywhere else. But I don't know, I like that sort of thing, and I'm not gonna hide it, I actually do really like it. But I don't know what it says about us as a community that a YA, like, I don't necessarily think that it's a YA thing. Inej mentioned at some point that she killed for the clan, good and bad. So I also found it quite funny when Kaz is saying, when Ek is the guy that proposed this scheme for them, and he's just like saying that if you fail at this, the whole world suffers, and then Kaz is saying, oh, it's worse than that one, Ek. If I fail, I don't get paid. And I thought that's very relatable. Yeah, so Kaz just told Inej to go and gather everyone to meet him. And I think he's going to a brothel to ask for someone named Nina, and I'm sure, or Nina, I assume it's Nina. And I was only at that part when he just got into the brothel and I fell asleep. I'm sorry, I don't know why. I just keep falling asleep. I think it's my health, to be fair, nothing to do with the book. I really don't feel well enough to go to the shop, but I want something really sweet. So I'm gonna try this hot chocolate spoon. It has some marshmallows and then like a Christmas tree in green. And a chocolate block on the spoon. You're supposed to put it in milk. Yeah, you get hot chocolates. I don't really drink milk. I avoid dairy not as much as I can. Like, I could avoid it more, but I I don't drink milk, I drink coconut milk, so we shall see if this actually works on that or not, but yeah, I suppose we'll just have to give it a go. Do you want some chocolate? Oh, you can't have any chocolate, buddy. I don't know, I'll let you know how it tastes like. No. No, Momo. Momo? No. Yeah, I'm gonna save this. Momo, go away. Zeus is being so annoying. He's scratching and shouting at the window because there's a tiny leaf right there. And he apparently needs it really badly. This window, by the way, doesn't even open. Zeus, calm down. No, I would open it and get it for you, but I can't either. Good boy, you give up. No. No. I'm defending this corner of the room now. No, no, no. Oh, okay. I had to lock the cats out, climb this, like stand there and like try and lift it because it's really jammed. Got the bloody leaf. He bloody be appreciative of this. If this is not love, I don't know what is. What's this? What's this? What's this though? What is that though? Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want to touch it? Catch it. I think it's on. Is that you done now? He only seems to like this when he can't reach it. He's just running in circles, Zeus. Ooh. Sort of smart. So I finished part 1. I'm just at the bit where they woke Matthias up and he's like whispering Nina like 3 times, and 2 times is like tentative, and then the 3rd one is just like growling and trying to strangle her. And I see that the first chapter and the next one is gonna be Matthias's one, so I sort of assume that we're gonna learn why he's mad at her. They were speaking about that she was there in the court or something, so maybe she said something to mess it up. I don't know. I am still getting distracted like nothing else, but the same thing happened when I was reading Nevernight. I'm not sure if that's just because it's a high fantasy, so they're throwing a lot of info for world building and you're not getting into it as fast. I don't know, because the thing is, like, I am enjoying it, and I am enjoying it like every chapter even more, but I just get really distracted. I can't focus. It's when Nina was getting out of her job or whatever, Kaz was saying that Nina was flirting with everything, and he swear he saw her once making eyes at a pair of shoes. So I thought that was hilarious. I do like Nina's character. I like how versatile she is and how quickly she changes from one character to another. Really appreciate dialogue in books, and I feel like recently I've been reading books with a lot of descriptions, and that's one thing that I don't particularly care for that much. For me, spoken language is always a priority. Obviously you need to, like, I can, you know, I could like read plays or something instead, but no, like there obviously needs to be a balance. But for me it's really nice when there's a lot of dialogue. This little flashback that we had between Nina and what's her name, Inej, because I really am looking for more books with female friendships as well. Like the only other one that was like really with main characters that I remember of recent times is Court of Mist & Fury and Court of War and Ruin, whatever, those sort of books, because other than that it's usually like not so much females that are friends, which is sort of annoying. I really liked that bit where where Nina was obviously so anxious that she was just angry at everyone, and she's saying to Nesh, I'm mad at you too, and she's like, me, why? I don't know yet, I just am. And then they squeeze hands, and I thought that it was such a sweet friendship moment, and I really appreciate the dynamic between them, because they come from the same background, sort of. They relate to each other, but they're very different, but they do trust each other. And I also really appreciate the scene where Matthias is going into the ring and he has to fight wolves, and apparently that's like a holy animal in his tribe or wherever he's coming from in his culture. And that was so sad, but any like animal cruelty for me is sad, and wolves are just so close to dogs, and I'm just, it's so sad. I like that scene, I like how it was written, and it was really emotional. I didn't cry, but like, boy. So let me just check if anyone said anything on Goodreads. Ah, there actually are comments. China is C-H-Y-N-N-A, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Is saying that I can already tell that I'm going to love Juice and can't wait to learn more about his story. I am so ready to see what the rest of this book has in store for us. Who's Juice? Why am I blacking out? Eleonora is saying, I read it a couple days back and I'm pretty sick, so my memory isn't at its best, but I really liked the first part. It hooked me already. I wish I was feeling better so I could continue reading. Aww, I hope you're feeling better now. Probably at this point you are. Friedrich is saying, it took me some time to get into it, which surprises me as I binged the Grisha trilogy. The last 2 books took me 2 days in total. That's pretty impressive. But it's not a bad thing, I can't rush through it. It makes me more aware of the world and the characters. I loved Inesh so far and can't wait to get more background into info and action. I do think that it's a good beginning. I do think that it's a nice intro. I don't know why it's taking me quite a long time to get into. It's not even that. It's exactly the same that I had with reading Nevernight. I just keep putting it down. Jordan is saying, I am a little late with this book of the month, but I should have it by the end of the week. Excited to participate with this one. I have plenty of time. It's again a comment by China. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Just finished part 1. Loving this Grisha universe already. Also getting some serious Aragon vibes with Kaz. Huh, interesting. Oh, Bunny's here. Okay, Bunny's saying, first of all, the audiobook of this sucks. I was really happy to finally get my hands on it because I usually get into a book faster when listening during my drives, but I completely lost the plot. I didn't understand anything that was going on in the opening chapter. I missed the kick-ass ending entirely until I followed up by reading the audiobook. I'm still listening to the audiobook because I'm not going to waste my commute, but I'm also reading the ebook. I'm double fisting this book. Isn't that what I said, I think, on one of the comments of yours, that I just don't trust audiobooks sometimes. For me, as I said at the beginning, I felt like there were so many terms thrown our way that I wasn't even understanding what the hell was happening when I was reading. Can only imagine when you're listening, I would just be like, what? Another one of Bunny's is she's saying, I didn't read Verdugo's other series, so I am missing an awful lot of exposition. I feel like that's what I feel like, but people keep saying that you don't have to read that, and that Verdugo said that you don't have to have read that, but I feel like there's certain expectation that you had. I am so into the effects of this Yurdaparim, so many thoughts about it. True, I am really into the drug part, like it's really intriguing me and it seems quite interesting, so I'm really happy with the direction of that part. I'm hoping that they're gonna like involve that drug a lot. I have a feeling that it's gonna be mostly just about the actual heist in this book, and then like maybe the drug and everything else in the second one. I actually have no idea, I'm just guessing, but there's one comment on part 2 so far, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Is that an expression? It might not be. I need to get the chicken out of here because I think I just put it back in there. Yes, I did. Ugh. You know where it's like so sad that the pads inside it didn't do something properly. Damn it. It's really windy outside, so I'm hoping the cats are not gonna get crazy. Because I really need to sleep properly today. I think that's it for tonight then. I really need to stop like vlogging so much, because this is already always turning up to be so long, and if I keep vlogging that much, then it'll just be massive. Hi guys. Sorry I haven't, well obviously you can't see, but I haven't updated you in a while. I've read a little bit, I can't really remember how much, I think 60-70 pages. In all honestly, I just not been feeling that great. My health is just, there's something wrong with me and I don't know what yet, and my doctor's on holiday and It's been going on for a long time. Momo, I think, is not really well either, so he's been waking me up really early in the night, so I feel like nauseous, and when I feel nauseous I have anxiety, so I'm just sat here close to a panic attack, and I thought I'll come in here and record this as well, because that's the thing that I swore to do, is to record the good and the bad, and this is just one of the bad ones. I'm just tired. All I want to do is sleep, so I don't have to think or feel of it. Tomorrow is gonna be a new day, and I know I'll feel better, but today is just one of those that I lay down and do nothing. Hope you are well. I'll see you soon. Bye. Good morning. I had to take a Wednesday and a Thursday off work to monitor Momo because Momo's not well. Such a waste of annual leave. Oh my god, Momo. But you know, anything for my shittens. I am still on the page 179. Let me put you somewhere. I think it's just us getting more backstory from the people, but the main characters, I think, especially the one that we just rescued, Matthias, Wylan. I don't know which one's the first name and which one's the last. Matthias sounds like a first name, but yeah. They keep like swapping how they're gonna call him, and there's another person that's like starts with a W, and I'm just like, dude, I'm bad with names. Don't you toy with me. No, Wylan is another person. What's Matthias' last name? I don't know. I like the dynamic between the sort of the newbie guy and the one that has a gun. As I said, I'm very bad with names, so I like the dynamic between those two, because they're like, I suppose he's sort of like bullying him, but like it's sort of funny. I feel bad saying that, but it is really funny because it's not in like a very malicious way, and I understand their dislike for the son, because obviously he's sort of standing for most of the things that the group dislikes. Oh yeah, part 2, they get attacked by, they get ambushed by other people, other groups, because they also want the gig, I suppose. And Ines gets really injured, and Cass sort of grabs her and says like, not yet, because she was about to kill herself, and carries her back to the new ship, because they made that sneaky beaky exchange of pretend ship to real ship. Anyway, and Inej is really not well. At this point that I'm reading, I think I just went into the backstory of Nina's and Matthias, so I don't know if she's gonna make it, but like I know she's gonna make it, so it's not like I'm like, oh no. I don't know, there's not real suspense for me. It's still nice to see that they're not all bulletproof. And we learned that Kaz is really particular about touching other people's skin and everything, and so he has some sort of issues from the past, which I'm sure we're gonna learn about. Oh no, Inej, the part about their parents, I really like that one, because like, just, I don't know, it was very mom and dad kind of talk, and the mother is saying like, you take the romance out of everything, it's not what it means, when he's like telling the advice. I don't know, I thought that was sweet. So this part like literally seems like a bunch of backstories to just add to the characters, which I'm fine with, because I like knowing characters. Characters is what usually drives my book reading. I was Skyping with Jess previously, and she did, I asked her why she doesn't like the book, and she said that Kaz is just a really unlikable character for her, because he's really the things that he says is not okay, and it's very much on like a bully side, and I didn't really think about that, so I'm gonna try and see and if I can catch more of these little problematic things as I read. I usually don't look at other people's reviews or ask them before I finish the book, because I want to have my own like original reaction, I suppose. I should really take my meds away. But sometimes it's nice to know what to look out for before that, and obviously everyone's gonna, as I said, everyone's gonna read a different book. No one is ever gonna read the same book. Even if one person is, if you read the book, you're gonna read a different book, because obviously your life impacts so much on what you read and how you read. I might not see those little bits in Cass, but like I'm gonna try and notice it more. Wylan is like, I'm not a kid. And like really, they're all kids. The thing I noticed about Kaz, he never bloody shares his plans with anyone, which I understand that he's paranoid that the information is gonna leak, but I guarantee you that's gonna bite him in the ass at some point in this book, because it was brought up like one too many times, because Jesper is talking about how he didn't share about the secret boat, and everyone is just like, it was mentioned 3 or 4 times now, and I feel like it's mentioned for a reason, because at some point it's gonna be like a big thing that happens and Kaz didn't share the plans and everything's gonna go wrong. Or maybe someone will die, we shall see. So yeah, they explode the real boat and everyone's just talking about the plans about how to do it. I liked when it said, Kaz replied with a time-saving gesture that relied heavily on his middle finger, and I was just like, that is a very weird and fun way to describe. So yeah, I'm now just in the middle of Nina's story about how she got captured by Matthias, and their whole like Fjorden people, they just seem like the most racist assholes in the universe, and I have a really hard time seeing through that when it comes to Matthias, but I'm assuming it'll probably grow on me. I don't know, but wow. Anyway, so that's where I am now. Are you kidding me? So they meow the whole bloody night, and then... Hello. And now they're gonna sleep for the rest of the day. Bloody assholes. It's already almost 4 o'clock and I feel like I've done nothing. I know that's not true and I did do quite a few things, but oh my god, time needs to like slow the heck down. I've just uploaded a video and I think I'm gonna try and actually read now. I know, crazy. Hello. So you'll have to excuse me because I'm gonna be eating at the same time as doing this because multitasking. Also, look at those two. Oh, you guys so cute. Right, so just before the second part ended, they decided how they're gonna sort of get out of the prison, and that's by Inej going up the incinerator shaft. I have such massive difficulty liking Matthias. Oh, he makes me so frustrated. Matthias is definitely like the person that I have the biggest problem here with, especially when he says shit like, oh, I feel like he's just so ignorant. He's sexist, he's completely just blinded by his faith. My least favorite kind of people. And I just have no bloody patience for him, and I don't know, I'm sure that him and Nina are gonna be together and it's gonna be all like OTP and like, I don't know if there's anything he can do to like redeem himself from being such a massive asshole to begin with. Oh, I don't know. And when he said, in Fjorda women didn't talk this way, didn't speak of military or strategy matters, but Nina had always been like that. Well, yeah, because you live in the bloody repressed society that women are not allowed to have any sort of views on any matters of import, and I am not amused with this guy. And then it was kind of, and then it ended on a somewhat like funny manner of Jesper saying, fine, but if Pekka Rollins kills us all, I'm going to get Wyland's ghost to teach my ghost how to play the flute, just so that I can annoy the hell out of your ghost. Bricker's lips quirked. I'll just hire Matthias' ghost to kick your ghost's ass. My ghost won't associate with your ghost, Matthias said primly, and then wondered if the sea air was rotting his brain. Ghost jokes are funny. Anyway, so that is now up to part 3. I've read a little bit into it, but before I go there, I want to go on to Goodreads while I eat a little bit and read the comments that you guys left, because that's how I decided I'm gonna do these things. So Bunny is saying, I'm over the Matthias and Nina business. We're spending so much time with Matthias talking about how he's going to kill her, which in YA means they're going to fall in love, and I'm going to vomit all over myself. It's all pretty predictable, which I don't always have a problem with. It's just Matthias in particular is that who I have a problem with, because I feel like it's such a frustrating character. Maybe because it's so predictable, then you just feel like this is all for nothing. You're reading about all of these things that are gonna mean nothing. Then another comment from Bunny. I am still so super curious about the Jur the Pyram, and I'm tapping my feet impatiently for more information. Fatal to humans, so using it as a weapon. Bam, injection. And what if someone kidnaps Nina and injects her with it? There doesn't seem to be a way to come back from the addiction. There's more a comment from the chapter 1, but I am way more interested in the part than the logistics of breaking into the ice castle. Jesper's narrator for the audiobook sounds like a young, gentle Samuel L. Jackson, and is adding to my enjoyment of this character. It also sounds like we're going to get a Kaz Inej pairing, which I am also not a fan of. to be fair, I'm not a fan of romance, period. I think it ruins a perfectly great non-romance book. Seriously, this is not a book about romance. Give me more fighting, less pining. I love their relationship as a partnership, as a friendship, and romance is just going to irritate me. Pairing I want, our ship is Nina and Inej. They have possibilities. Fun pairing I could totally get behind, Kaz and Jasper, because hilarious. The description of Inej's parents and the geraniums, my heart. I am not opposed to romance, but it has to have meaning. I already mentioned that I absolutely love Nina's and Inej dynamic, but I also really just want them to be friends. I can definitely see why it would be fun to have them in a more romantic relationship, and I do see the possibilities you speak about, but I also think that I just want them to have the girl-to-girl friendship, because I just really miss that in books in general. Kaz and Inej, I don't know my feelings yet on that. Kaz is a little bit of a bastard sometimes. He's tries to protect himself and possibly Inej by being very distant. Really, he has problems with attachments. So like, I have mixed feelings about that. I am not against it, I am not for it yet, but I might be, so we shall see. I would love for Jasper to be actually into as a Wyland, you know, the merchant son. I want them to have a thing because they just like go back and forth like a married couple already, and I'm just sort of living for it. And we got a bit more of a side from Wyland when he's saying like, oh, it's very nice of you to think that you know everything, but I'm one of those people who basically don't like know that they don't know so much. And that's like the wiser thing to say, because no one's ever gonna know anything. And even when he told Jasper that, and he said like, aren't you curious where you get the water and the ice court thing? And he said no, and then they both get disappointed, and I thought that it was a really nice scene. Anyway, moving on to AJ's comments. Why do I have this lingering suspicion that Jasper is going to betray? Am I picking up on something or just being paranoid? I don't think so, but I think that like it could be, as I said, because I feel like Kaz is like toying with the whole thing of not letting him know what's up, and he keeps saying like, does he trust me, I feel like he's not getting back enough from Kaz as he feels like he should, so there's gonna be some sort of conflict, I guarantee you. But I don't know if it's gonna be a betrayal. I don't really like the fact we seem to be heading towards a Kaz and Inej romance. I feel like I already knew that though, because like I've seen people talk about Kaz and Inej in a romantic way, so I am 100% certain that's gonna happen. I like them as friends. I wish for once we could have a guy and a girl who just get on really well without it having to resort to romance, but then again, they are teenagers, right? So blame it on hormones, I guess. Matthias and Nina romance since bleh. I get the impression they haven't actually known each other that long, a few weeks to a month, maybe I'm wrong. I get the impression he helped her escape, but during that short period of them knowing each other, he captured her and intended to take her to the ice court to be killed, and she got him sent off to Hellgate. So they haven't known each other for very long and have done terribly things to each other with love. Sigh. And bloody hell, she was going to stab herself in the heart. What a badass. I like Kaz because he is awesome and it's fun to see people be amazing. Rick Sanchez, Doctor Who style. But I do feel a bit disconnected from him at the moment. I think that's because we can't delve too deep into him, otherwise it will ruin the twist later on the book. I feel like that's the whole character though, like you're supposed to not be allowed in because that's what he's doing to everyone around him. So the fact that you're feeling like that while reading it is probably a good thing from the writer's perspective, a mission accomplished kind of thing. Although I just, like as I said, I read a little bit in the third one and we get the information, like more information on him that I wasn't actually expecting to get yet, so I'm kind of happy with that. That bit where he just switched and ripped out the guy's eye though, wow. I know we've had death and stabbing and dark stuff, but that just happened so quickly I wasn't ready for it, lol. I laughed a bit at the end of this part though, where they were all talking about how they would give their ghosts to annoy each other, and Matthias was like, my ghost wouldn't associate with your ghost. They're becoming a team and I love it. I'm still enjoying it so far. I wouldn't say I'm hooked, but I don't have any massive complaints. I think the ghost part was like a hit with everyone. I totally agree though, I loved it. I know Matthias is gonna be like a big part of this. Ugh. But like, I bloody hate the guy. He's such a sexist. I can't get over it. And he's so blind, and just how a guy of 17, I understand the brainwashing and the whole, like, you know, he was raised like that, but how a guy of like 18 years old or something like that, and as I said, in my mind they're all older, how does he not think for himself and does not see how his like morals are completely in the wrong is absolutely beyond me, and I'm just like, I'm mad. Jordan is saying, I am enjoying this so far, but I feel like I am reading at a turtle pace. Tell me about it. It isn't catching me as quickly as I would like it to. I was a little bored with the planning part of this chapter, but looking forward to the adventure that is coming. Matthias intrigues me and annoys me, but I really want to hear more about his and Nina's past. I am so glad Inej isn't too bad off right now, at least we hope not. She's definitely one of my favorite characters in this book so far. I agree with the disconnect from Kaz in this section. I am not opposed to a romance between the two, as long as it doesn't become such a major part of the heist. I feel like we all sort of agree that there is too much on the planning part. Like, it is quite like slow, but I sort of like that part because they're in the ship, and I feel like travel by sea would just be like prolonged and slow and not eventful. I am also such not a fan of pirates that I'm just like glad that we didn't have any of that action so far, because Coffee and the Story is saying, I agree with all of you about Matthias and Nina's relationship. It is predictable, but I like the fact that it, in spite of that, it still manages to take me off guard. Up until the end of this part where he outright says it isn't so, I had imagined that he'd been captured as a traitor after freeing her. Then Nina felt guilty for it, and that Matthias convinced himself in prison that she had lured him, almost like with mermaids and sailors, into the whole situation. Interesting. I'm starting to think that Kaz feels trapped under the mask that he has created for himself. Sometimes I get the impression that some of the people he wants to trust him, Inej and Jesper, cannot truly see that, because it is so difficult to tell if and when he is wearing one. I think that's a very good observation, the last part, because in the third part where he's sitting with the, because I'm just gonna go into the third part now, when he is sitting with Inej, and he's like, his inside voice that we're reading is saying like, tell me, I'm gonna get us out of here, and there's another bit that he says something similar, because clearly he has doubts that he doesn't feel comfortable expressing, because he is supposed to be this rock, and I feel like you're absolutely right. He's gonna suffer behind his mask, because obviously it is a mask. It's him, but it's also a mask. So also I just want to quickly thank you guys for commenting these things. I absolutely am living for these comments. I love hearing what you think, and I love reading it for the camera and everything, and I'm just very happy that you guys are participating. First thing that I wanted to point out is actually something that I really genuinely like about the writing style of this book, or maybe I suppose a format, and I think I've already touched up on that a little bit, but like places like this, there's a lot of parts in the book that you just go into the dialogue and you don't have a lot of like he said, she said, stuff like that, like the little bits of painting the scene, but it's just purely like bits that is just dialogue, like back and forth. And I think that it, like for me personally, I was always for these parts, and for me personally, that's the way that I want to read dialogue most of the time. I understand that it's inevitable to use the helping bits because obviously it's not a play. My personal style of reading, I absolutely love these things, so I'm actually really happy to see a lot of that happening. For me, it builds momentum, and we just get to the part where Inej wakes up and she's talking to Nina, and as I already mentioned, I just love their dynamic, and especially in this scene when they wake up and Nina is like singing to her, and she like doesn't have a talent to do that, but they're all just like, they're such amazing friends. We get a little bit of a backstory for Inej's part, where she gets captured into slavery and sent into the city, and where she's being inspected for her body because she's gonna get sold for it. That was so painful to read because it's so dehumanizing, and just the part where she has like an open blouse and her skirt is like above her waist, and she's just standing there wanting to jump into the sea but not having the guts to, and that was such a heart-wrenching part. It's so fucking horrible. Like, that's all I have to say about it. And then the last note that I have, it was just the story of Kaz and his brother, and how they were scammed by the people who took their investment money, and oh my god, I felt so sad, especially in the scene where they're sitting at the stairs by the house that they just found empty, and they're waiting for hours and hours and saying something happened to them, there was an accident or an emergency, he'll write Soul, he'll send for us. You know what it really reminded me of? If you watch Futurama and if you've seen the dog of the main character sit outside the shop he worked at and wait for days and days and days, that's what it reminded me of, and that like is the saddest Futurama part ever and no one can deny it. Damn, that is so sad, and I know it's just gonna get sadder from now on, but I'm happy that we're getting some of the backstory for Kaz, and he was such a cute kid. Oh my god, his love for hot chocolate, like hashtag relatable. I'm at the part where Nina is changing Matthias's looks, and they're having like a moment of where Matthias is like clearly fucking in love with her, and it's just like such a, that guy makes no sense to me. So if he feels such hatred, I understand that like love and hate is like one step from each other or whatever. I don't think that's actually the case. If I had such hate for someone, I really doubt that I could love them just as easily. And I understand they have like a history and stuff, and maybe it's just love, hate because of the love. And I understand it goes like against his principles, so that sort of justifies it, but I can't justify his principles at the same time. So for me, it's just like, dude, get your crap together. Like, he's so annoying. I do like Nina though, so that's good. I don't know what the hell she sees in him other than he's like hunky and beautiful. Think that she could do so much better. Why love someone that clearly hates you and thinks you're below animals? Girl, have some self-respect, please. Anyway, hello, it is the 17th of November. I'm just back from work. I just wanted to update you a little bit. I still didn't get as much time as I wanted to read, but I read a little bit. So I've finished the first chapter in part 4, right? And I finished part 3. At the point that I am now, they've started their mission and Kaz was all weird and fainting in the van. Maybe this has to do with that, him being very uncomfortable with touching each other and touching skin, and I was like failed because I think he's just like panicking like big time because it's gonna be some sort of backstory thing. I only really had a few things to pinpoint here. I think it's mostly still bloody planning about it. It's literally just planning and planning and planning the thing. I don't even know what was the third chapter about, but let me just refresh my memory. The one tab that I do have is from Matthias, where it's like saying people like him, people without their unnatural gifts, they were predators. I think it sort of like explains the whole thing, you know, they're just aggressive towards them because they're afraid of them, and you know that what you can't understand you fear type of thing. So that's probably the basis of it. Yeah. My feelings on Matthias, like I don't hate him as much anymore, but like I don't know why. It's because we're supposed to like him. It's like, it's how we're driven in this book. It's supposed to be like, see, he has human sides to him, but like I feel like this should be like a given. It shouldn't improve the situation that, oh look, he said something human. But anyway, I do understand the whole propaganda and being raised that way, and it's very hard to change your views. He was raised with these beliefs and he was raised thinking these ways. Maybe because this girl was his first interaction with the enemy. Well, actually not technically, because we do learn that he lost his mother, father and sister in a raid from Grisha. So he obviously has this bad, horrible association that probably just fed whatever he was told before about the Grisha people, which is fairly like, it's a good reason. Like that, maybe that's why I'm liking him a bit more, because he has justifiable like background. It's not like he just believed what people told him. Like he sort of suffered it firsthand, so I can sort of see it. And to be fair, this is his first interaction with the Grisha, and she did, and I think he probably was going better and getting better and being more tolerant and changing his views. And then obviously Nina goes ahead and like breaks his heart and betrays him. But we also learned that she didn't really, because she had her best intentions in mind. She was trying to save him from the other Grisha. Her lie sort of ended up being very destructive for him, so she didn't intend to imprison him, and she didn't do it to escape herself. She just wanted to get them both off the city or something. I am actually pretty happy with how this is going. It's giving justification, it's it's also making us not hate Nina because she was betraying him, and it gives reasons for things, and sort of it's still not like just an misunderstanding, but it's getting there. I like that it's giving us reasons to sort of like them more. Although when he says, Nina, has it ever occurred to you that maybe ... you weren't meant to exist? Oh boy. I did not blame Nina for going that shit. Oh, she didn't even go that much batshit crazy, but she should have, like, cause boy, no, what sort of Nazi thing is that to say? And I actually really do enjoy Nina's and Matthias' backstory now. It's one of those things that I'm growing to like, especially because Nina is quite funny and she teases people, and whenever he said that she was really hard to wake like a corpse, and she said that they request 5 more minutes, and I actually laughed out loud at that. And the way she like danced around him and says, goodness, you're very solid, this is strenuous work, he started to laugh. It's working, because she was trying to make him laugh, and I thought it was just like, it's sweet. They wear like a sweet dynamic thing. Still not the biggest fan, but like, I don't know, I have very many mixed feelings here. Because like sometimes he'll say shit like that even now, saying like maybe they weren't meant to exist. So like, it's like one step forward, 2 steps back. And then, so yeah, we see a lot of horrible things happening to Grisha when we take off the ship. At the very end, Matthias and Nina, they're conspiring against the group, and they're gonna actually betray them because they don't want to let out the dude that's in prison that has the drug out in the wild, and they have just like no intention of letting him escape. And so they're sort of talking about killing him, and if Cass kills both of them, then so be it. So they're basically gonna do that, and I sort of don't want to. I'm like really not confrontational person, and I like that they're working to be more of a team than like conspiring against each other. Although I have an inkling that Kaz is probably conspiring back, because he does predict people quite well, and he probably knows what Nina's intentions are once they get that, and he really wants that money. So I have a feeling that he's gonna have some sort of precaution, because that's what his thing is, like he takes precautions. That was the end of part 3, and now I'm gonna do my favorite thing and go and read your comments on this. Okay, so the first comment is from Bunny. She's saying, I didn't really think Ganesh was going to die, but I am really glad she didn't. The description of how she was stolen by the slavers got me ridiculously upset on my drive to work this morning, and considering I've already fallen in love with her parents based on the flower story. I know, that flower story though, I love it. It's so weird how such like short paragraph can like hit you in the feels, and they're not even characters in the book, but we're just like, Anyone else think Wylan is going to turn and or betray the rest of the group? I get a turncoat vibe from him. I'm super curious about what happened between him and his father. Me too. I really want to know that. And that being said, I think I am getting quite invested as well. I think it's all the backstories. Wasn't it someone else said that they get a backstabby feeling from Jesper? I think AJ said that in the previous comments. Hello? Do you mind? Go away. And another comment from Bunny saying, Gah, I knew finding out Kaz's backstory was going to hurt. Can we never ever find out how his brother died, because that might do me in. That broke my heart. It broke all the bones in my heart. Aw. It didn't quite break me, but it was one of the saddest things ever. I think it was in the part 2. I think because Bunny is listening to the... I think, Bunny, you're listening to the audiobook, so it's just all over the place, isn't it? China is saying Ines, or China, I'm sorry, it's Chynna. Ines is becoming one of my favorite characters. I love hearing more about her backstory and her family. Especially love the flower scene. I can't get over these characters. I love them all for different reasons. AJ is saying Inej and Kaz's backstory is so sad. I'm still convinced Jesper is going to betray them. I like how we all like just don't trust any of them. Also, I guess it kind of made me understand the romance between Nina and Matthias a little bit more, but I still think they love each other way too much. Another one from Bunny. I'm genuinely enjoying the backstory of Nina and Matthias. I'm not enjoying that all of this "don't you realize you're natural and that you're supposed to be dead" is leading to "I love you, let's kiss moi moi." No, just no. That is exactly my thoughts as well, as I said previously. I like how we like all have like very similar opinions but noticing some different things. I just love it. I think I'm more irritated about like, because we already started with Matthias and Nina being romantic prior. I'm not as mad about that one. I'm just okay with that one at this point. Like, I know it's supposed to be like that type of relationship, but Kaz and Inej, I'm just not feeling it yet. And that is it for the part 3 comments. Morning guys. So didn't read any yesterday, but I realized I didn't catch up with you for my last update, so I'm gonna go sit down and catch up with you. Is it okay if I film here a little bit? Mm-hmm. No, because it's still sleeping. Lucky. Oh shit. Sorry. I just walked into the cat tree because I'm not used to it being there. Yeah, made myself a cup of tea. Gonna sit on my beanbag and talk through the comments of the part 4? 3? 4, I think. And talk through the notes that I made for that as well. I'm being a cute catso. Gatto. Heist actually happened, so they went into the ice court. At the point where they got off the actual main building and they're standing on the roof and they're thinking how to get to the other part. So the main part that's probably gonna stick with me through the rest of my life is where Kaz has to float on his dead, rotting brother's body to reach the mainland or wherever he was dumped there before, to go back to Ketterdam. Are you fucking kidding me? That is so gross. No wonder he doesn't want to touch anyone else, because if you're 9 years old and you have to like spend a few days with dead bodies and then have to use your bloated brother as a raft, swim somewhere, like of course you're gonna get traumatized. It sort of justifies how like sometimes shitty he is towards other people as well. Sort of. I still like him better than Matthias, so you know, bloody Nazi. But when they were just describing the skin detaching from the body because of the salt water, like oh my god. So and clearly he takes out some frustration on one of the prison guys that were together in the cell, because it just goes all batshit crazy, because we clearly see him having doubts about his ability. So I think that was his way of remembering that he's not powerless. I was so annoyed when Jesper and Wyland were talking with each other, and finally we got so close to Jesper actually asking why Wyland had to leave his father, and then obviously a guard's voice interrupted. I was like, are you kidding me? But like, I want to know. It's such a tease. It's like the second or third time that he like mentioned that. Oh. And then we learned that Jesper is actually a fabricator, which is pretty cool. I knew there was supposed to be like a better reason for him to tag along, so you know, obviously that was it. At least no one can give him like a hard time now for being in the group. And I absolutely get why he's hiding that. I don't know, Jesper is still my favorite character. I think he's sassy, funny, quite like logical. It doesn't annoy me, and I do really like him. For Nina, she's alright. I don't have anything against her. And she's sometimes funny, especially in the stories that we see about Matthias and her meeting. Do you like Inej as well? But Jesper is my favorite. What was your favorite character, Logan?
I think Jesper, maybe.
Hooray! Distance high five for the same main favorite character. Yeah. I'm sort of getting a feeling that every single person in the group is gonna get paired up with another person from the group, and it sort of annoys me. Like, everyone now kiss, you know? Yeah, so the next tag that I have is Jesper flirting with Wyland because it's fun to annoy him. Actually, I don't know this, but it might be like the best pairing if it does happen, because it's very amusing. I like some of the insights that Kaz sort of brings. So the reason why he took the lockpicks in his teeth was to distract the guards, and so the guards would think that they already like neutralized the threat, and they were like patting themselves on the shoulders. It's like, you know, well done, while really it was Jesper putting wax on his hands, so the Grisha woman that was sort of hired by them, I suppose, or was it not a Grisha one? You know, that like can tell if another person is a Grisha or not. Couldn't tell that, so that was a kind of a nice, smart move. And it's just like, Jesper really cracks me up, because when they were getting the rope with Matthias, he got really surprised because he could like take 2 as well, and then Jesper is saying that I grew up on the farm. Matthias says, you don't look it. Sure, I'm skinny, he said as they hurried back through the stables, but I stay drier in the rain. And then Matthias saying like, how? And then Jesper says, less falls on me. I hope if anyone dies, I hope Jesper doesn't die. And yeah, and then Cass sort of like, because of his obsession and like sort of understandable, well not sort of, like very understandable rage towards Pekka Rollins dude, he ditches the whole operation when he was the one saying harshly how they have to stick with the schedule and like having the whole group repeat the schedule, and then he just goes like, nah, I'm gonna go with Nina now, and then like ditch Nina and go look for Pekka Rollins, and then sort of semi not really admit what happened. And he comes back with all of his covered in blood, and we don't actually know yet, well I don't know yet what happened. I can assume what happened because he goes into the cell where he finds Pekka Rollins. And yeah, we also had a flashback of him realizing that the dude that scammed them was actually Pekka Rollins. And oh, I also really liked the bit where Inej gets, when she was just like still in the whorehouse, and Cass takes her away, and she's saying, this isn't a trick, is it? And a shadow of something dark move across Cass's face. And I like how it's just like left subtly like that, because we know why he would be so triggered by someone tricking someone in a vulnerable position, because obviously that's what happened to him and his brother. But it wasn't like outright said that in the sentence, so I really appreciate that they, you know, they don't do the normal YA thing where they just make everything super obvious and they, you know, trust us in being capable enough to notice these nuances. I also like how cinematographic was that beautiful scene when Inej is like stuck in the generator chimney thing. I just imagine it as like a glorified very hot chimney. And she's just about to give up, and then she feels rain on her cheeks, and I thought that was like a really beautiful scene. Oh yeah, and that's part 4. I think, what is it with me? I'll like always read the chapter after that. So yeah, and the first chapter of the part 5 is just them saying goodbye to one another, because they just, you know, really don't know if they're gonna make it or not. Alright, so I got the comments, so sorry. Bunny is saying, my favorite part about bad guys being the main characters of a story is the plotting, especially when it comes to the con artist part. See also the TV show Leverage. Bang Biscuit is a silly name for a real thing. Oh yeah, I don't know, it's when they try to take yeah. And then in all capitals, holy shit, no wonder he doesn't want to be, and I assume it's gonna be touched. Poor baby Cass, Jesus Christ. I'm way too invested in this escape. When Nina opened the door and found the guards, my adrenaline kicked in and it hasn't stopped yet. I would say I'm sure everyone survives, but this book is so damn dark, I'm not sure. I still think that everyone's gonna survive, I don't know. I hope not, but I feel like everyone is gonna survive. On to AJ's comment. Okay, so did we know Jesper was gay bi, or is he just being flirtatious? That's what I was saying. I don't know if he's just doing it for shits and giggles or if he's just actually into him. Maybe I misread his earlier envy and jealousy and thought he was going to betray Cass, but maybe it's because he loved him, although now it seems to be pulling more towards Wylan. Oh, I have no idea. Man, annoyed me so much when Nina and Cass went full reckless and Cass abandoned the plan. Why do all that planning? I know. I know Inej was totally badass anyway, but I wish she could have been a bit more badass before the rain came. I mean, she was like melting, like her feet were melting. Literally, her slippers were just like melting into her feet. So I hope this book does have a twist or two left in the actual heist. I hope so too. I assume so. It's not over yet, and they are saying goodbye. So I feel like the most like badass, intense scene is to come. Am I right, Logan? Is it still to come?
Yes.
Yay! Coffee and a story. I really enjoyed how cunning this part was, the planning, how they avoided the guards. Cass' cynicism on human behavior is always interesting to read. And at the same time, it seems to me that Cass was the most human-like he'd ever been. He was, because he was actually doubting himself and kind of scared of things. Cass thought that Jesper was staring at his hands. What were you expecting? Claws, at least. I know, that also really made me chuckle. We saw him visibly shaken. Of course he had been afraid before, but this time he wasn't able to hide it, which is huge for Kaz because he is all about masks. He lost composure and needed reassurance both from his friends and from himself, and abandoned rationality in his carefully crafted plans at the prospect of revenge. From the moment when he saw the head on the pile, he would be looking for Becca Rowlands. I didn't expect him to lock himself up in a prison cell with a guy. And can we take a moment to appreciate the fact that Jesper is a Grisha? Thank you, Liberty. I had been wondering for a while why he didn't hide. In general, this was amazing at character development. I do agree. I do also really appreciate that, like, a bigger reason for Jesper to be in. They kept hinting at something that is gonna be like, because everyone kept questioning like, why are you here? So we should have seen something coming like that. I think the reason why he was shaking was not the heist itself, is because he had to be crammed into a small van with so many people, and I feel like that's his like worst nightmare, so he just purely passed out because of panic and flashbacks, and it's like PTSD pretty much. So those are all of the comments on this part. I'll catch up with you later. Hopefully, if I do have time to read, you know, I'll finish this because I really want to finish this. Anyway, speak to you later. Logan's not feeling well, and this is how he looks like now. It was so silly. Hi guys, so sort of good news that I finished the book already, and I do need to catch up with you guys a lot. I sort of like sat and read everything that was left in one sitting, which still took like a lot of time because I was getting distracted by things, and it's just story of my life. And at the end of at the end of that, I just didn't have the juice to like sit and talk about it. Finished filming the Harry Potter haul. That's probably already up. Not probably, it's already up by the time that this goes up. But look at the mess that I now have to clean. Fun. Much sadness. Ugh. I'm sure there maybe were a bit more things to say, but I have quite a few tags here, so let's just go through those. So yeah, Nina and Inesh are supposed to be pretending to be one of the girls from, is it Menagerie? I don't really know how to pronounce that, but basically the whorehouse. And they knock two girls out and take their clothes, and Inesh, apparently Nina is supposed to be a representative of plus size people. I didn't really pick that up beforehand, but I know I was speaking to Jess from Just Reads Books, and she said that yeah, apparently that was supposed to be a thing, and that was like before I read to this part, and I was like, really? I never really kept caught up on that. And apparently people say because she kept saying how much she loves to eat, and I have a lot of problems if that's how this is shown, other than like afterwards we have these things where Nina's saying like, oh, we're gonna fit, but it's gonna be a snug fit for Nina, when they're trying to like squeeze through something, and when Nina is wearing the clothes of the girls that she like sort of robbed. But I sort of think that it's sort of like a difficult thing to show without being like in your face like, oh, this girl's plus size, because obviously you're not gonna just say that. So I like that it's subtle, but I don't like the fact that the first reference that they got for that was, oh, I like to eat a lot. Because like, girl, let me tell you, or boy, let me tell you, I know so many people who are skinny as hell and they eat like everything that they see and how much they want to. Sometimes I just think about food and I gain weight. Eat, like, who doesn't like to eat? But it's just like, I don't like if that's how it's shown, because then it sort of makes you feel it's a stereotype, you know, that like chubbier people like to eat more and stuff like that. I just don't appreciate that. But I do like idea of a plus size person being the main character in a book, because there's not a lot, especially away from like contemporary YA books. I feel like Lee Bardugo really likes to throw in a lot of representation, and I just don't know if it's for the right reasons or if it's for publication and marketing reasons. But I can say that for me personally, I didn't really have to like stop and think that it's just unnatural or that it was feeling forced, so I'm quite happy. So even if it did start for like sort of like not the best reasons, I can't say that it really hindered my enjoyment of the book. And if anything, I'm sure that a lot of people would really appreciate it. As I said, I have very mixed feelings. For example, when I was at uni, because our uni was very international, like a lot of places are here for universities, because it's such a, you know, people come from all the places and then they're mashed together, and then you find a lot of different people. And sure, there was like a lot of representation in the groups that I was hanging out with. I was one of them. I was foreign. So in that sort of setting, it would be kind of it wouldn't be like too surprising. It would still probably be like a little bit rare, but it wouldn't be too surprising to have a few bisexuals in the group, a plus size person, basically a bloody Nazi. I'm just saying, there's a lot thrown in there for a group of 6 people. So I'm just saying, I don't know, like I love it, but I don't know if it's forced or not. Basically is what I'm saying. Anyway, we're moving on. So the part where I think that we're sort of like really strongly indicated towards Nina being a plus size person is when that person's costume doesn't fit her, but like we don't know how tiny that other person was. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, it's really funny though when Nina was trying to get through the security to get into the party, and she was like so flirty, and the guy was like that is like accurate representation. And then like he was like, okay fine, go ahead, and then he said I might be at the party later. I also wanted to just mention that I really like the sort of like countdown, or like just the time zones, not time zones, but the time scale written at the beginning of the chapter. So you sort of, because obviously the group split, so it was easier to understand at what point what was happening with that particular person. So you know how they say like 9 bells or whatnot on the top of the chapter, so I thought that was a pretty good idea. At this point, because I obviously finished, and I know you guys finished, so it's safe. At this point, I know for a fact that Jesper and Wyland have like sort of chemistry thing going on. So basically, we paired every single person with another person from the group, and oh my god, like it's not necessary, but I have to say that from all of the pairings, I am definitely 100% rooting for Jesper and Wyland, because they're so adorable together. They're just like winding each other up. There's more to Wyland than it seemed at the beginning. Jesper is not as like just like funny and jokes, and like, you know, he's developing feelings. It is just so cute. I'm just like so for it. And it was really cute when they were on the mission together sort of, and they were supposed to like get rid of the, so Jesper at this moment is like dangling from the ceiling and the rope, and then he realizes there's more guards than he can probably take, and Wyland starts singing as if he's drunk in Fjorden, and is that the, yeah, Fjorden, and he's singing a national anthem and is pretending to be drunk, and the guys sort of like start laughing and joining in, like the guards, and then one of them is killed, so I suppose at least he died laughing. But that was such a funny bit, like and then it got me thinking, you know, when Nina was like walking about, and then there was a guy who was sort of like touching her, and then his hand slid even lower, and then she sort of just like looked at him, did her thing, and then he fell unconscious. I thought, like, you know what, if I was like that type of Grisha, I'm rubbish with these types. Like, what is she? Wait, there was a guy at the beginning, wasn't there? Was she a heartrender? Was that what she was? I think so. So if I was that type of Grisha, I would feel so safe all the time, because like no matter how inappropriate people are trying to be, or if they're being absolute assholes, you don't even have to hurt them. You can just like, you know, make them unconscious for a while. I would love that. Maybe I should be a Slytherin. And then tun tun tun, we see that Jarl Brum that Jarl Brum, or whatever, Brum, I don't know, is alive. Everyone that you thought were dead, we're not dead unless you see the body. Game of Thrones taught us that. So anyway, he's alive. And then we have that also awesome scene between when Jesper and Wyland are trying to like cut the chains or something. Jesper says, if only you could talk to girls in equations. And there was a long silence, and then they were not even looking at each other, and Wyland is saying, just girls? Because he's testing if he's into him or if it's a possibility. And Jesper like restrained a grin, and no, not just girls. And then of course we get an interruption, so nothing can like go on further. Yeah, it was kind of funny because so then the guy who was supposed to be drowned, and the father figure for Matthias, is leading Nina away, and from the very bloody beginning I knew that he recognized her, because like I don't know, it just felt like it's actually like it's gonna be the thing that he recognized her. And of course he did, and it was just funny because he's saying like the people seem to forget about what this celebration is really about, and they just drink and get laid. And basically it's funny because it's pretending that he's gonna like obviously do the same. And obviously she goes into this room, and even when she went into the lab I was like, don't go in because you're gonna get trapped. And of course she got trapped, and then Matthias comes in, and I feel like this would have had like a more of an impact on me of thinking like, oh my god, is he actually like swapping sides, if I didn't know that people love Matthias. So like there was literally like no doubt in my mind that he's just pretending that he's on his side, is gonna actually do something harmful to Nina. And I had no doubts, but that's because like I'm in this community, and this community, even though like it's not technically a spoiler, but it's sort of like spoiled to me that it's, you know, Matthias and Nina, they're like a thing, and Matthias is everybody's like baby. And I have to say that yes, Matthias is growing on me against my will. I do understand that this is obviously a person who was like fed lies, and he was raised on those lies, and I don't know if I would be like a better person than he was, or like if I would have enough perspective to not have those views and beliefs myself, especially if I would personally have suffered from the hands of these people, because they killed their family, no matter if it was like maybe not necessarily provoked by Grisha, but Grisha did kill his family. So like I understand, but it's just things when he says like, oh, maybe you were not supposed to like be born or exist, like it's those sort of things that really just like ooh. But anyway, I had like a discussion with Logan. He sort of like made me like calm down in my like hate for Matthias, because of course he's like raised in those beliefs, and you know, but he made it very hard for me to like him, and I don't know if I want to like him, but the booger is growing on me like some sort of fungus, and I know that I will end up liking him even if it's against my will. And then we're looking back into when Matthias realized that Nina is being taken by Broman, and he was like to Kaz like, I have to save her and stuff like that. And then he goes to Broom and says, hi, I'm alive. And he's like looking at him, and obviously because Nina adjusted his features, he didn't like recognize him at first, and then he looked with such disgust at him that he let Grisha modify his appearance. And that was really cool, because then Matthias actually saw the reaction that he was giving to Nina, and he personally felt like, oh, you know, this is not very fair. And I thought that, you know, it's good to taste your own medicine. And I have to give it to him, it must have been so hard to basically like strangle the guy that did take you in and did raise you as your own, even in his villainous ways and in his corrupt ways, but he did take care of him, so I can understand why this would be really difficult for him. And I have to admire his morals in that situation, where he does like strangle that guy until he passes out and like goes and saves Nina, because it must have been so hard. Even if I know if my dad was in like the wrongest of wrongs, it would be so hard to do. Imaginary hat off for you, Matthias. As I said, you're growing on me like a bloody fungus. And I know he sort of saw that coming, but even then it was a little bit like, not like out of nowhere, but like to an extreme end. He just lets her out, and I suppose it was because she was locked in and he was sort of like, you know, it's like a button away from her being exposed to the drug. But he was like, I bow to you, my internal love, I was born to protect you. And it's just like a few pages ago he was like, you witch. But I suppose, you know, it had to happen at some point. I mean, did it? We knew it was gonna happen at some point. And then they go and find the Bull Bayur guy. Bayur? That's, I don't know. But it's not actually him, it's his son, because the father actually was killed in the crossfire, unfortunately. And then they briefly consider actually offing off the boy as well. But then Matthias is like, no, he's one of us, which was sweet, because now he considers himself like part of the cool group. And they basically drag him along with them. And yeah, I think, what was the last bit of, oh, and then they run and get captured by the guards. The guards recognize Matthias, and they're like, ooh, you're so bad, you traitor. And then they basically like wrap them in some sort of magical rope that like people. And then I wasn't entirely certain what happened. I think Kaz cut the tree that they all prayed for, and then somehow they fell deep down into like a river or something, or like a pool. a river, I think. And then the last bit of that chapter was that Cass, you know, was fighting not to open his mouth in the water because he was obviously like lacking oxygen, as you would. But he gave in and did that, and so that was the end of part 5. So let us go and see what people said about that. Boy! Memory card was full. I had to go export everything, like oh yeah, it's his like PTSD trigger, and I felt like it was really cruel of her to just like throw that against him. It's his biggest weakness, it's his biggest problem. It was just so insensitive of her to say. And like, if you truly love and care for someone, you're gonna find ways to overcome shit like that. Like, surely, like, sure, maybe not in any near future, but you can work for it. Like, oh, that made me really have negative feelings for Nash. Like, tell me, like, it's not even like his fault. Like, I'm sure he possibly could have handled it in like a healthier way if he had help to process what happened to him, but he didn't. So he has a massive case of PTSD and anxiety and panic attacks because of this. And like, it's not like he chooses, it's not like he doesn't actually want to kiss her or something. That was just really bloody insensitive. But like, of course, it's the kind of characters that we have here, and to some extent I understand why she said these things, but like, that is not okay. I wonder if any of you guys are gonna say the same thing in the comments. I really hope so. I hope I'm not just the only one being like a very oversensitive petal here. But I'm gonna go ahead and blame it again about on my degree, because it is in psychology. So I feel like we're also always like forced to look for that side of things, and I can't get it out of my head. And it's just like, personally, Inej offended me there. And I really thought it was cute, the scene where Nina is really struggling and laying down, and she's just, the drug is sort of getting out of her, and she's like, everything hurts and she's in so much pain, and like, she and Matthias are speaking with each other, and they just sort of weakly saying to each other like zealot, witch, barbarian, and you know, stuff like that. And it's their way of saying I love you. Yeah, and then Jesper brings that up, that he felt really sort of guilty, but not really, but sort of, yes, guilty, about the fact that he didn't do this like heroic thing, that he didn't offer himself for the drug. But then like, he is the fabricator guy, isn't he? So I suppose he still would have taken care of the situation, but it's not the same. It's like Nina was like bending the people. I'm just thinking of bending because I just finished Korra. Before he actually mentioned that, I completely forgot about it. It was kind of interesting to see that I forgot about it. Then we have this sentence. So they go into the exchange for with the main dude that hired them, and I knew something bad's gonna happen, because obviously we're not gonna like just end up happily ever after in this type of book. I just felt like something bad's coming. And obviously Van Eck was tricking them. There was a council was not involved whatsoever. It just never really bothered to never even planned to release them. The money was for the show, so they would hand over the guy. And I didn't actually see Wyland being turned into... We do know that Cass gives Nina the last order to do something, but then I didn't actually know that Wyland is gonna be pretending to be the boy. And that explains also why Jesper didn't see him on the way back. And yeah, but he did actually see him anyway. What I didn't find intriguing is this particular line. With a niggle of unease, Jesper wondered what else Rollins might have told Cass. What is he hiding? I feel like that line gives us an inkling that Jesper is hiding something, that maybe he had dealings with Rollins before. Or is this the part about Rollins telling Cass that Jesper was the guy who sort of gave out the information about their mission, and that's why they got... Well, that's why Inej basically almost died. That's why they were ambushed at the very beginning. So I'm not sure if it's referring to that or if it's something else. What was so cruel of that father, and also what I didn't see coming, was those letters that he wrote to Wyland were just a cruel joke, because Wyland cannot read, and that's why he basically disowned him and like sent him on his way. I didn't see that coming. I was very pleasantly surprised to be surprised. And then obviously Van Eck is like sending a wave to the ship when he thinks that his son is there, because he doesn't really care and he wants to intimidate the crew and everything. And Kaz is being like, calm down Jesper, calm down. And because obviously Jesper is being Kaz is being Kaz, and he has like precautions and whatever, and he actually sends Nina and the boy away from the ship. Then Inej basically gets like carried away by some Grisha on drugs or some creatures, I wasn't actually entirely certain there, which opens up us for the second book really. And it's kind of cute when Jesper is asking Wylan why he agreed to this, because he might not be able to turn back into his previous body, and Wylan was like, why does it matter? And he's like, I don't know, Jesper said angrily, maybe I like your stupid face. And I just thought like, you guys are so adorable. Kaz reveals why he doesn't really reveal everything to Jesper anymore. And then, because Jesper honestly seems surprised, and he says, I didn't tell Pekka Rollins anything, so that's why I'm thinking that maybe there's something else as well. Basically, I feel like Jesper is just too chatty. Jesper's like Hagrid. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I really like the scene where Kaz goes to Pekka Rollins and he's like cashing in his check for releasing him, and he's like getting money from him, and Pekka Rollins actually got robbed as well, and he didn't even notice, and that's apparently like a big thing. So he's like, he might actually stand a chance against Vanek, and he doesn't remember him, and he doesn't like, he sort of probably has like a bad feeling, and I assume this is gonna be like the biggest fight in the second book, but also we need to rescue Inej. But I really like this dynamic that they have this with like Kaz and Pekka Rollins. Like, it actually, Kaz is intimidating when he's speaking to him, even though he's so much younger. So I like that. So yes, let's see what you guys had to say about this. So AJ, oh lord, I hated that ending. Why am I not surprised? The whole him saving Rollins thing, and new Rollins is helping him. For the whole book, Kaz was talking vengeance and bloody murder on Rollins. Then what he was like, nah, I'm gonna let you out of this prison and not just kill you now because reasons, and then I'm going to make a deal with you too, because apparently I've forgotten all about that vengeance I swore on you for Jordi, and hey, look at this shiny new vengeance I have, do me a favor. I'm actually gonna go ahead and disagree with you on that one, because I think he didn't kill him right there and then because it wasn't right, he didn't have the time, because I don't believe that just killing him would be enough for him. I feel like he needed to torture him and reveal his identity, and then simply didn't have the time to spare when he was there. And also he's using him as a means to an end. He probably knew that he might be in trouble, and it's like a really good debt to have. And doesn't mean that he's not gonna kill him. I really do still believe, and I think we were told that he's still gonna like take care of him, and there's still gonna be things coming his way. And it's not really like and it's not really working with him more than, because he didn't say like it's a loan. No, he said like, you give me this money now. So I actually like that. I like this weirdness behind this. And I in no way I think that he ever mentioned that he forgot about the vengeance. It's just that there's things that can wait and been waiting for a long time now, and then there's Inej who needs rescued now. Called it just for betraying them thing. Didn't come in the form I thought it would, but I knew he was shifty. I agree with you. I did also think that, but I also didn't, I still don't class it as a betrayal. I think it was just recklessness. So it wasn't like purposeful, and I thought at first, for the good part of the book, I also thought he was gonna do something bad, but he didn't. Wylan coming to stand by him every night was cute. It was really cute. So I hate all the romance though. I did enjoy the book overall, and I didn't find it a pain to get through. I just expected a bit more from it, especially in the heist itself. I never really cared for Kaz. I cared for Inej the most, but I didn't particularly adore any of the characters. I don't actually care for Inej that much, especially after she spoke with Kaz. I'm just like, my opinion about her just sort of decreased, and I still care about Jesper and Wylan the most. Interested to see how Nina comes out of this. I'll read the second one, sure. Annie is saying, writing without reading the comments, I had to stop at a Wi-Fi spot to say, Jesus, Nina. I suspected we would end up with Nina taking the param. It was set up. I didn't have it fully formed in my head. Either a suicide mission or someone else subjected her to it. I haven't gotten to the withdrawal part yet. Her takedown of the soldiers was what I would expect from her. Your ass was corrected into an ass for like a bum. Let's be real, did anything think they were actually going to get the money? I know, right? I didn't know how this book would end, but I knew they weren't all walking away with their pockets stuffed. Not quite a twist, and I'm glad Kaz had a contingency plan in place. The boat is in repairs was way too obvious, but obvious twist was obvious and not a twist. AJ, I agree, the Rowling's thing is annoying and ridiculous. Why, guys? I don't think it's ridiculous. I think it's genius. I think he's using him for his money and his resources when he needs to use him, when he still gonna come for him, and I feel like it builds suspense. And right, like I'm tapping into my Slytherin side here. If I was in that situation, I would release the guy because I know I'm not gonna come back to that prison, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to again. But also I wouldn't just like waste all of this planning and all of this to give the guy that I absolutely hate a quick death. Nah. And if it's like a slow death, you can obviously like do a slow death, but you don't have the time to stand here and like look him in the eye while he fades away. And I'm just saying that I'm completely behind this whole Kaz with Rowland's thing, and I in no way think of them as being partners. He robbed him, he got his money, he got what he needed from him and more, and walked away from it saying, "You'll see me again." Guys, come on. I mean, obviously I'm just like passionate because I'm like just finished it really yesterday, but like obviously I respect your opinions and they are very valid. So Kaz is the kind of idiot who would want Rowland to die his way, not in the prison. I would be that kind of idiot as well. But still, so stupid. It should be interesting to see how that plays out in the second book. And yes, I cracked up that you were right about Jesper betraying them, not out of villainous but out of sheer idiocy. Instead of being upset, I'm mostly amused that, and it really does lock Jesper in place as my favorite, with Dinesh standing on his heels right behind. I now have like massive problems with Dinesh, I'm sorry. I like that this book is truly an ensemble story. Kaz may be the center of this group, but I don't consider him the main character. Neither do I. I think they're all just sort of main in their way, and I think Kaz is just the glue, the grum guy. I found all of the other characters far more compelling than him, though I don't dislike him. He's just under Matthias on the list. The list! Oh, also, I like that you provided that. Jesper, Inej, Nina, Wylan, Matthias, and Kaz. See, I don't dislike him at all. What would be my list? My list would be Jesper, Wylan, because he's sassy. Nina, Matthias, Kaz, and Inej. I think that just, I know it's so weird, but just that side of Inej, I was like, you bitch. You insensitive bitch. I said earlier that the reason I like stories where bad guys are the protagonists is because of the plotting, leverage, Ocean's 11. That's what I always went in this thinking about Suicide Squad, but as soon as I started reading, I was like, this is Ocean's 11. The Italian Job, all of that. I love the plotting. I love seeing how everything is done. This book was full of the characters tripping and falling into ways to make this work. Some of it was very cool. The destruction of the sacred tree was pretty good, not gonna lie. But there was no following along with what was happening. There was no, oh, that's why they did insert earlier hint. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe rereading it later on I'll see things I didn't see before or something. But I'm pretty sure I didn't miss. AJ is responding, yes, exactly, Bunny, that was sorely missing for me. This is about the heist and planning stuff. You're also right about it being an ensemble rotating around Kaz, but with him being I think this is cutting off the things. I don't know what the end of the sentence is because it's missing. For me, Inej piped it as my favorite. I totally agree with what you're saying. When I started the book, this is from someone whose username is Asma. I totally agree with what you're saying. When I started the book, I thought of Kaz as a mastermind. I was under the impression that he thought of everything and of every eventuality, and he did not want to inform the others from the start, but he was as much in the dark as the others. But I also like the way that makes him more vulnerable, more human. Absolutely agree with you, girl. Puffy and the story saying, I actually had conflicted feelings about it. This is about the Rowland's part. One part of me agrees with you completely, while the other thinks that it makes complete sense. In a way, Cass did foreshadow it on the first half of the book. If he had meant to simply kill Rollins, he'd already done it. He was pretty specific about his brand of revenge. He wanted to best Rollins at his own game, Con the con artist. From that viewpoint, it is clever to have own him a favor. Yes! I'm glad I'm not the only one like being like, this is how it's supposed to be. P.S. Yes, you called it. I was really hoping you'd be wrong though. The way it happened was almost funny. Facepalm. I think Jesper is my favorite character. So that is all of the part 6. There's also a section for people who finished the book. I'm not gonna read it on camera. I'm gonna read it afterwards, after I film this. And what my final thoughts are, that I agree with a lot of things that you guys said, and I had thoughts very similar to yours, but I also very happy that I have different viewpoints on specific things that I just spoke about. I hope you guys will enjoy seeing my point of view and justification of some things, and my and things that I've noticed and maybe you didn't think about, or maybe you will watch this and have other thoughts. So please leave all of those down below, because as I said, reading the comments is my favorite part of it, because I love seeing what other people see. This is gonna be a massively long video, so that is the reason why I'm not looking at the overall comments for the book, because this is already gonna be so long. So I apologize, but I hope you guys are gonna do it like in parts or something. The only other thing that I'm gonna do just now with you guys is to rate this book, because I haven't sat down and I didn't rate this book yet. So I'm gonna go through my co-pile system that I introduced in a video recently and see what this ends up being as. So okay, so co-pile. So C is for characters. I think that this was very character-driven book, and I loved the interactions between the characters. I really loved all the backstories, and I'm actually gonna say I'm gonna give it 9.5 for characters, because even though you don't have to be my favorite characters, but I felt like that dynamic between the characters was what was driving this book so much. So A is for atmosphere. For atmosphere, I think it was good. I don't think it was the best. It wasn't the most vivid, but it was good. I don't have like a lot of complaints about the atmosphere. I don't think this was supposed to be the most atmospheric book. In general, I think atmosphere was sort of ignored, but in some scenes, you know how I had a few scenes, remember when I said that I thought they were really cinematographic, and I absolutely adore those, so it brings the rating a little bit up. For example, when they were walking between the bodies, when Nina put all the soldiers down, or when Inej was stuck in the chimney and she felt the rain, and there was some of the parts like that, they were really good. So I'm gonna say 7 would be a good rating for that, maybe 7.5. Writing style, I'm gonna go ahead and give a writing style an 8 actually, because it really pleasantly surprised me, because I was really not a big fan of Shadow and Bone, but this one, I think her strongest point is dialogue, and it really felt like it's friends speaking. You could feel it wasn't forced. It wasn't like something like, oh, you know, no one speaks like that, it's just a book. No, it was very believable, so I really liked that, and it wasn't too descriptive when it came to actual paragraphs, and I think it was really decently written. Now for the plot, I have to say that there was a lot of planning, and I'm not against the whole planning bits, but it's just sometimes that planning didn't make as much sense. I sometimes would just like zone out and not really follow it, because it just went into like some details that didn't seemed quite relevant. So actually at the end they didn't really follow their plan. So I was a bit like, really? So for that reason, no, I'm gonna put that in the plot bit and not logic. Actually no, I'm gonna put that in the logic. So for the plot, I was quite happy with how things were, for the pace and for the events that took place. It was slow in the parts it probably was supposed to be slow. I really enjoyed the journey in the ship, that it was really, again, like the time seemed more prolonged compared to like the action ones, which is what you want. I wouldn't say that the whole plot was like super good though. It was really a solid good meh. So 6.5, let's say, for the plot. Intrigue, I can't say that it was hard for me to pick this book up. I think it was my mindset again, because it was just things going on in my life that I couldn't really sit down for like a proper really long time. But intrigue was alright, and sometimes I would feel driven to read more because I was getting invested in the characters. So, but it also wasn't one of those that I'm just like, oh, I need to read more, you know, like I need to know what's gonna happen. I think because it was quite predictable, so it was good again, but it wasn't like mind-blowing, so a 7. For logic, as I said, but that's the thing, if I don't remember any like massively illogical bits that took me out of the story, even if there was parts that I just didn't pick up on, I didn't pick up on them, so it doesn't matter to me personally, because you know, it didn't stop me. The only thing, as I already mentioned, was because I felt robbed of the, like, why was I reading about all of these planning bits if you didn't follow the plan? So I'm gonna give it a 6 for that one. And then finally, the enjoyment part. I feel like I really did enjoy this book way more than I expected. I feel like basically because I had my expectations super low because of my previous experience with the book by Leigh Bardugo, but I did enjoy this way more than I expected to enjoy this. So I'm gonna give this either a 7.5 or an 8. Let me think about it. I'm pretty invested in it, so I'm gonna give it 8. And that's 52.5, and when I divide that by 7, it's 7.5. 7.5 is a little bit on the lower end of 4 stars, so it's still a 4-star. The 4 stars begins at 7 and ends at 8.9, so I think co-pilot is really working for me personally. So yeah, those are my thoughts. So this is it. This is us done now. I am so sorry for how long this was. So I think without further ado, I'm just gonna end this here. I'm waiting to read your comments. I know these videos are not really watched that much because like they're really long, and obviously the amount of people that can watch this is quite like a narrow audience. But I really hope that you guys like it. I know by this I should be uploading at the same day when I upload this, the book in a jar for the next time, so it's gonna be January. The next time we read something together is gonna be 2018. So go ahead and check that video out, and yeah, I love you so much. Thank you again for everyone who read this with me and who commented on Goodreads, especially because I love those comments. So yes, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!